News tonight, the federal hearing for Reality Winner, an Air Force veteran turned government contractor, just wrapped up under 20 minutes ago. This is a live look from outside that courthouse right now. Not near as much action as it was earlier when reporters were flying out of there just as they went into recess. Good evening, I'm Kelly Wiley. Dozens of local, regional, and network journalists crowded inside and outside Augusta's federal courthouse hours before the hearing. Part of the reason for the national interest was this Russian connection. Reality Winner is the first person charged under the Espionage Act since President Trump took office. That hearing for Reality Winner started about 2 hours ago. We've had crews covering today's hearing since before dawn. From inside the courtroom as Winner faced a judge to outside among the flurry of reporters as attorneys and family members filed in. No cameras are allowed inside federal court, so the afternoon has been a waiting game. Winner was brought from Lincoln County, where she's been held to the courthouse she was brought to the courthouse around 8:30 this morning. She was indicted on a charge centering around her handling of classified information, and she was arrested Saturday. The national media, along with our cameras, were there as her parents and attorneys were left out of their SUVs in front of the building and led inside the courthouse. Billy Winner Davis and Reality stepfather Gary Davis spoke to us yesterday and called their daughter a patriot. They worry she will, quote, disappear. Our team coverage tonight starts with Ben Billmeyer live from the federal courthouse. Ben, you came out of the courthouse a little over an hour ago, but we're still waiting to see if she's going to be released on bond, right?
Kelly, that is not going to happen. They just set out not too long ago. They were pretty much out of recess. The judge, we are hearing that, here, if you can, back to this. We are hearing that the judge has denied Reality Winner bond. She will be detained for the entirety of her time leading up to her trial. The judge cited several statements that were made over the phone with her mother on Sunday when she was in jail, including the statement she made about the documents and saying that she had screwed up, the fact that she said that she was going to go nuclear with the press following today if she did not get what she want, and that she was going to play the card of her being pretty, white, and cute. Of course, all of this has been done today just as a pretrial bond hearing. The prosecution said that she had access to the dark web through Tor browsers, and that she could create a passport, be able to leave the country if she had been able to get out on bond. The defense brought both her parents, her father and her stepfather, her mother and stepfather, as well as a friend from Grovetown, to her defense, saying that she was patriotic, that she had no reason to leave the country, that she was at no risk of doing any sort of criminal activity. Of course, as you can see, here comes her defense lawyer right now, as well as her parents. You can see Gary Davis and Billy Winner Davis. It looks like they are coming down right now. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to give a statement, but nope, they are walking right by our microphones. They're continuing down right now. As you can see, I don't know if you can come over and get a look at this, but here they come. Yep, they're down here right now.
Ms. Winner, any response? Please stay back. Stay back, please.
Any comments?
Any response?
We're going to need you guys to back up. We're going to get ran over.
You can see as our cameraman is working on right now, you can see that her parents as well as her attorney are in the car right now. You can see there's Titus Nichols as well as one of her other attorneys getting into the car right now, getting ready to leave after just finding out that their daughter has been denied bond. She will stay in detention until her trial begins.
And Ben, you said that, their parents this whole time really wanted her to get out of jail. Not out of jail, but they really wanted her to be able to have this time leading up to this whole court process outside of jail. And obviously we see that's not going to happen. But inside the courtroom, take us there. You talked about some of the phone conversations that the judge cited, him saying that she was going to play the cute white blonde card. But tell me what her parents had to say. Tell me what that Grovetown woman had to say for reasons why they believe that she would be fine, not a flight risk outside of jail during this time.
Pretty much she was saying that she was pretty much everything that she had stated to us yesterday, that she was patriotic, that she was not a risk of leaving the country, that she was not going to be any sort of criminal, that she was not what the prosecution was laying out as a person who was linked to terrorism, she was not a person who was trying to leave the country to go to Afghanistan, to join Al-Qaeda, to join the Taliban, or anything like that. That's pretty much what her three defenders came and talked to her about this today. Of course, we know that the woman, a friend that she had met through the Air Force, who was living in Grovetown. She says that she loved yoga. She loved her pets. She taught a spin class. Many of these kinds of statements were being made on her behalf, that she was just a normal American girl caught up in a whirlwind. As we have heard from her attorney, Titus Nichols, all throughout this week, that she was a good person caught up in a whirlwind of political madness, as one person described it. That's pretty much the bulk of what was happening. Of course, there are still many more details, as we have heard from inside the courtroom.
And Ben, just to go over some of those details, one thing that you mentioned, the prosecution saying that she went into the Air Force because she wanted to push her own agenda. Talk to me about the context of that and how the prosecution spoke of that.
The prosecution talked about how she wanted to make these statements known, that she wanted to send out this information, that she wanted to push her agenda. They cited her social media posts, all of her anti-Trump posts on Twitter and Facebook after election night last year, saying, calling Trump many words that we cannot use on the air. They cited that as a reason to think that she had many liberal leanings, and that she was a person who had access to this classified information, and a person who was looking to make it well known, not just to one news outlet, but to several others, as long as she had that clearance, that security clearance to that classified information. That's pretty much what they were talking about when it comes to that, Kelly.
And then, one last question. You spoke about one thing that her mother and her father, or her stepfather, had said that, she would have said anything during that interrogation when they came in, surrounded her home on Battle Row. But then, in the context of those phone conversations, they also mentioned her saying, "I screwed up." Talk to us about that. Talk to us about how the prosecution and how the court today was talking about that statement.
That was one of the main things that the prosecution was honing in on today, and one of the things that the judge in this case focused on when it came down to his decision in denying bond to Reality Winner, saying that those phone conversations that she had at the jail as soon as she was arrested, one of those statements that he brought up, that statement that Reality Winner gave to her mother over the phone, saying, "Those documents, I screwed up." And she also mentioned that she had essentially done something wrong, and that some of the things that she had been telling her mother did not line up with what she had been telling investigators at first. Of course, the prosecution told everyone in the court that she was looking to, sorry, I had something in my ear, that she was looking to spread more of those documents. Of course, people are just starting to leave the courthouse now that her parents have left. There is still so much more information that we are going to break down tonight at 11 o'clock.
Well, thank you, Ben. Obviously, some conflicting things between the account she gave on the phone and some of the things that we're talking about with the investigators. But thank you, and we look forward to hearing more about that. But now we're going to take you to some exclusive video of Reality Winner being escorted out of the courthouse, it seems here. We'll see her in just a second there. You see her in that orange jumpsuit heading out of the courtroom after a very long day. She's heading into that white van there. But just to show it to you again, her leaving the courtroom after just what had to be a very long talk with talk with the judge and the prosecution. But we're showing this is exclusive only on News 12 NBC 26. We're going to head to Scott now for the weather.
Well, today, even with the sunshine, we made it to just 85 degrees for the high temperature, and we still have some pretty clear skies out there this evening. Here's the view from our downtown camera looking towards Augusta, the Mill District, and North Augusta off in the distance. Just a beautiful shot there, and it looks like we're going to have some pretty nice conditions as we head into the evening hours as well. Doppler Max radar is all clear, and it's going to remain pretty clear as we head through the next several days, and with that, we will have some warming because of all the sunshine. But right now, we're looking at temperatures in the lower 80s, upper 70s for most spots, 77 degrees right now for Aiken. And tonight, because of some relatively dry air in place and the clear skies, temperatures will be dropping off pretty quickly. We will be in the lower 60s by midnight. It looks like we will be in the upper 50s by tomorrow morning, but tomorrow afternoon, that's when things will really begin to heat up. Upper 80s, lower 90s were in the forecast, and then even hotter temperatures are in the forecast for the weekend. We'll have all the details in the exclusive full weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Scott. The arrests have slowed down in a 2-year undercover gang bust, but still more than a dozen people behind bars. 26 people are facing state charges, and so far 18 of the 26 are booked into the Richmond County Jail. There are 8 more facing federal charges, but the feds don't provide mugshots. That's why you see those 8 blank spots there. They're believed to be all connected to the Hilltop Boys gang. The first wave of suspects were arrested between March 2016 and last month. Richmond County Sheriff's Office tells me the Narcotics Division was back out on the streets today in connection with this operation. This is the first look at a few of the faces investigators say make up Augusta's Hilltop Gang. Partnered with the DEA and District Attorney, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office has put 34 alleged gang members and co-conspirators behind bars on state and federal felony charges. The arrests are a result of a 2-year undercover investigation of a gang that spent at least a decade in Augusta.
It probably made the media a couple times. It was on the law enforcement's radar and the Hilltop Boys or Hilltop Posse. That was years ago, and last time I heard of something like that was from Sheriff Ronnie Strain back in the day.
The Hilltop Gang is back in the spotlight as a continuation of Sheriff Roundtree's commitment to dismantle Augusta's criminal street gangs. Back in January, 17 indictments came down on members of another decades-old organization, Augusta's LOE Gang. Devon Harris, the director of a youth offender ministry, remembers a time when major busts like this were frequent in Augusta.
Remember, when you're dealing with gang members, you're trying to get it to a level that it applies under the RICO law. You're like putting in work for the set. You're putting in for organizations like the mafia and the mentality. So it'll stick for a long time.
Harris warns while the sheriff's office can arrest some, without educating the community, the gangs will reappear.
And that same community where that major bust happened years ago is back to active again. And because when you cut the head off, it will be quiet on the streets for a while. But if you're not educating that little fellow or that guy that's thinking he's going to make a name for himself, sooner or later it'll be back in the same position. They'll be back in business again.
Devon tells me a lot of gang members he deals with were recruited when they were 13 or 14 years old. As for this bust, they're still working to round up the rest of the suspects, and then we'll get likely more information from the sheriff's office of the specifics of this investigation. But Devon wants to get anybody who's dealing with a young person in this kind of scenario some help. We'll link you to his organization online.
After a cool afternoon, we're going to have a pretty cool Friday morning, but then the summer heat returns for Friday afternoon and for the weekend. Well, the details coming up when Augusta's Only 7 o'clock news continues.